Hello, and welcome to this week's edition of At the Cross. We're in a different room, very exciting. I want to point out that we have a whiteboard. I don't know if I'm gonna write it. Oh yeah, I was gonna say I don't know if I'm gonna write on it because I can't write backwards. I can't because it's mirrored. Forgot about that. A couple other things. Yes, this is a glass box, and it is the middle of the day. So there is a tour group, a whole bunch of other people. And no, the room is not soundproof. So we're doing great. We're doing fantastic. I actually really like the business building. It's really nice. I have a TV in here. I don't know why. That's cool. We have our own business. It's like a chocolate business. So the business students can practice. I don't know. I think it's really neat. Come to see you done. Shameless plug there. So we're rounding out the month of September, which is kind of crazy. I haven't been home since August. I miss my mom. I can't. I think the max I've gone just about 6 weeks in my life without seeing her, and we're pushing up on week 6.5. I think. Not having a great time, to be 100% honest. Not really not, but I am having a lot of fun here. I went to talk to he's my program director. I don't know how else to describe him. Really, Tina is our program director. Pizzi is just the name that's on everything, but Tina's the one that runs this whole school, or the entire theology department at least. I love her. She's incredible. Wow. I've not told my mother this yet because this happened. It's 12:34 right now. Okay. I got out of class at 12. That class started at 11, and it was at approximately 10:45 that I found out that I can indeed, probably, that's cleared on Wednesday, but I can add a specialization to my major on my own design. I'm super excited about. So my official, I'm going to have disability and ministry and then youth ministry. I'm so excited. But today, September, we're rounding out our discussion on atheism and why Christianity is like verifiably the correct religion. But I'm gonna make this mention again. I don't have enough faith to be an atheist. Such a good book. I'm planning on like fully studying it since I'm here. Super excited about that. So this week we're talking about 10 common sense questions that every believer should ask. I think that's going to be interesting. I found this when I was still doing my internship at church. So it was like over the summer. It's a couple months ago. And I saw on like I think it was like the atheistalliance.com or .org or something. And the questions, they're fun. They're fun. We're going to say that. They're very fun. I have this whiteboard back here because I was writing this not thinking I was going to do an At the Cross on it, but just because I thought it was fascinating. So I'm writing it for an atheistic audience. There are a lot of numbers. There's a lot of statistics. So I have the whiteboard here in case I have to write anything down. I have an insane amount of whiteboard markers. It's 18 of them, a bunch of different colors. Because I am a theology major, we are not exactly known for being good at math. The math that I know is 3 equals 1 and 1 equals 3. It's a Trinity joke. It's really funny. You can laugh. Okay, so we're going to get to it. We've got 10 to go through. Some of them I'm going to cut like a bit short because we've already talked about it. First question. Why, after debating this for thousands of years, are we no closer to agreeing which God is real or even if there are any gods at all? So this is fun. because actually we are closer, like significantly. Most sources, if not otherwise stated, are from the Pew Research Center. A wonderful place to get statistics from. So right now, from my best research, there are about 4,200 religions. Okay, 4,200, a lot of religions. These are including things like Pastafarianism, which, if you don't know what that is, it's the flying spaghetti monster. Yes, that is a real religion. I think it's hilarious. So you're allowed to wear colanders on your head when you get like your pet. I was so tempted. Anyways, sorry. So the Pew Research Center determined that roughly 84% of people in the world subscribe to a religion. There are well over 7 billion people, and 84% of that is a lot of people. Math. 32% of the world. Now we're not talking about like 84%, 32 of that 84. No, we're talking 84% are religious. 32% of the world is Christian. 23% is Muslim, 15% are Hindu, 7% Buddhist, and 0.2% are Jewish, and 6% of people practice things like Pastafarianism, which is a stupid religion. I might do an At the Cross on it, just used to research it. But other things, probably spirituality is counted in paganism, Wiccan, that type of thing. Folk religions is what they call it. From that list, 39.2% of the world believes in the same God, the Abrahamic God. That's our God. Which, in case math isn't your strong suit, I think I actually did that math wrong. Because I said 39.2, but it's 32% is Christian, 23 Muslim, 0.2, which would be 55.2% of the world. Right? I'm doing the math correctly. So I don't know what I was doing there. No one called me out on that math. So 55.2% of people believe in the Abrahamic God. Okay, that is a majority of the people. So you got 7 billion people. That's more than 3.5 billion people that agree that the Abrahamic God is God. I couldn't find any conclusive statistics on the diversity of religions in ancient history, but like generally speaking, like bonkers amounts of religions. Okay. There's statistics. I won't bother getting into it because we're only on the first question. We have 10 to go, 9 to go. So statistically speaking, large majority of the world believes in the Abrahamic God. I'm getting weird looks from people passing, so. But a large majority of the people believe in the Abrahamic God, which means that really we are a lot closer. Not to mention that we can verifiably prove that the Abrahamic God is the way to go. I digress. So, 55%, it's a big number. Second question, why over 500 years, so since 1520, has science continually ruled God out but never ruled him in? So first of all, we've talked about this. You and I, we've had this conversation before. This guy, we haven't. Again, I love me a good statistic. 51% of scientists believe that there is some form of a higher power, and 33% specifically believe in God. I'm pretty sure the Abrahamic God. It's saying something, okay? Because scientists like proof. They like knowing, right? And you have that many people saying, yes, definitively, there's a God. There's God. So that's just kind of what I was saying. Not to mention, this is one thing that I will skip over, and I think that I did talk about it in the whole But Science episode, so I won't go too into it because you guys kind of understand what's going on here. There are a lot of scientific theories and very prominent scientists that were heavily Christian, or heavily religious. Because I know Albert Einstein was off his rocker a little bit. You don't have that hairstyle and beyond, you know what I'm saying? He was a little bonkers, but he still believed in a higher power. The father of quantum physics said that your first sip from the glass of natural sciences will make you an atheist, but at the bottom of the glass, God is waiting for you. Personally, that's why I drink out of straws. I'm kidding, that's not true. But that's, yes, I'm just saying, science really doesn't disprove God. And you ask an atheist, where does science disprove God? Not really going to come up. Especially since of scientists say that they cannot disprove God, because disproving anything isn't really how science works. That's not, you can't do it. This one's fun. Why do God, and okay, just to clarify, all of the atheist questions, God is lowercase, because, I don't know. They always do that. Why do God believers use transparently invalid arguments to justify their beliefs? What? Basically, I have a full paragraph here, right? I mean, I have full paragraphs all the time, but what are you talking about, dude? For that type of a thing, I need an example, right? Because we don't use transparently invalid arguments. The most we do, we being Christians, being like we know what we're talking about. I mean, I do not know what I'm talking about, but I've done a lot of research on it. I've done probably more research than just the average, like, church and Easter Christian type thing. You know what I'm saying? No, there is a wrong way to be a Christian. There are a lot of wrong ways to be a Christian, but if you believe in Jesus as your Lord and Savior and as the Son of God, etc., 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 you're good to go, right? You don't have to sit here and get a theology degree to be a good Christian. But it's usually the ones that are just like, yeah, I'm Christian, I've read it before, that fall back on transparently invalid arguments. And I hypothesized that the reason people do that is just because they don't know. They don't know the answer. And people can get mean when they ask a question and the person they're asking doesn't know the answer, especially when you're talking about atheism versus religion. People can get really intense about that. So I think probably in order to just avoid that type of a confrontation, people will use whatever argument comes to the top of their head, which is why we study our faith, and so we don't have to fall back on transparently invalid arguments. If I decide that gravity doesn't exist and I want to argue that gravity doesn't exist, I'm gonna grab the dumbest looking person, not dumb, but I'm gonna grab like an English major and I'm gonna start arguing with them that gravity doesn't exist. How do you think that English major is gonna react? Do you think that English major has studied the field of gravity? No. If you want to determine whether or not something exists, you want to talk to the people who actually know that subject, right? You're going to get a very different response from a layperson on religion than you are from a theology professor. So, that one's special. This one I have a really short answer to. Number 4, why is there not even one argument for a God that all fair-minded people can agree to? Name one thing that all fair-minded people can agree to. Literally one thing. Yeah, that's what I thought. There's nothing. We're humans. We fight. We argue. It's fun. It's not good, but it is somewhat entertaining. Something I'm working on. No one's going to agree about everything. And also, what is the standard for a fair-minded person is my question. But I digress. So that is stupid. That one just simply, why is my hair doing that? What do you want me to say, dude? Okay, number 5. Why does geography determine which god people worship and not something else, such as intelligence? Geography determines literally everything. The environment in which you are placed will determine everything. I'm in a class called Interpersonal Communications right now, and we're talking about this. We're talking about the fact that your culture will determine so much about you. Much. I mean, from the way we talk about literally anything. Snow. You grow up in Egypt, your word for snow is snow. You grow up in Ohio, your word for snow, it depends on what the snow is. Is it like nice fluffy snow? Is it sleet? Is it frost? Is it, yeah, like we have so many different, so that, first of all, there's that. Because geography, especially for a vast majority of history, I mean, we're talking within decades that this has started. Geography limits everything, right? It tells you who you marry, it tells you what school you go, all of that, because there was no way to communicate with people far away, right? Like if my soulmate lived in Europe and I lived in America and it was 43, I don't know. I'm gonna marry Joe down the street because I know him, right? However, if we want to play the geography card, let's play the geography card. If geography determines, if not being limited by geography means that your religion is correct, Christianity wins. Just say it. 25% of Christians live in Europe. This is going to be the whiteboard moment here, okay? We're going to do, I don't know how to do this. We're going to say we've got what are my other, Europe, Latin American / Caribbean. I'm just going to do Latin America. Cool. Sub-Saharan Africa. I'm just going to say Africa. Because Africa. And then we have, what else do we have? North America. Huh? I know how to spell, I promise people. North America. And we have got one more. Middle East. Middle East. Okay, fantastic. Nailed it. So, Christians, we're going to do this fun purple. These are Christians, okay? In Europe, we're 25.7%. These are all percentages. Oh, wait, are these percentages? Oh, this is just Christians in general. Okay, so this is the distribution of the Christian base. Latin America, we got 24.4. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just isn't going to add up properly. Is it going to add up properly? I don't think it will. Okay, Africa, 23.8. All your percentages, because you always label your numbers. What my father drilled into my head as a child. Latin America, we already did. Africa, we already did. Asia, we have 13.2. This would have been more helpful if I had written this all out before I started filming. Unfortunately, that would take a lot of forethought, and I simply don't have that. Okay, and then we got North America still, and Middle East. Okay, we got 12.3%, and then the Middle East, you guys are gonna be shocked at 0. Like I said, shocker. That looks like it's just 6%. Hold on. There's an eraser. I don't know why I did that. Just so that it's a little bit more clear. So, what about atheism? Atheism. Atheism is fun. Well, now, okay. Now, atheism, it's religiously unaffiliated. Okay. Why did I write it like this? It is not in the same order that I just did this, but okay. So 12% in Europe. Oh, that is an awful marker. You guys cannot see that. Is this one better? Let's see. We're going to find out. It's going to be a fun little journey. Straight up dead. Blue it is. Please work. Blue. We have 12%. And we've got, what is that? 5.2% in North America. And 4 in Latin America. In Asia, we have, I don't know, 2.4 in Africa. Middle East, again, shocker. 0.2 and 76.2. Why does geography, whether or not you're religiously unaffiliated, when the distribution of Christianity is a lot more even than the distribution of religious unaffiliation? Just a thought. So if we wanted to go with geographical distribution, Christians win. Spoiler alert, we win on a lot of things. I'm just saying. Maybe if the people who wrote this had better questions, then we wouldn't have such easy answers. But oh, this one was fun. Why is it that less well-educated people are more likely to find God and not me? First of all, what? We're gonna erase this. I was really confused by this question, right? Because I don't the find God thing implies conversion, but I feel like that's not what they're going for. So I ended up, the only paper I could find regarding conversion to religion in regards to correlation with education, a lot of fancy words, I know. It was a PhD thesis which was dedicated to Jesus. So I feel like it's a bit biased. I love Jesus too. I'm probably going to dedicate my thesis, but marginally biased for what we're trying to do here. But worldwide religion as a whole, with its correlation to education levels, shows that Judaism has the most educated members. On average, Jews have 13.4 years of formal schooling. I'm not 100% sure if that counts like elementary, middle ed, or if it's like post-secondary education. Can't remember. I wrote this in March. No, it wasn't March. It was June, July. The second most educated is Christianity, 9.3 years on average. And then the religiously unaffiliated, which are 8.8. So, no. Statistically speaking, you are not more likely to be atheistic if you're smart. You're actually more likely to be a Jew. Number 7. We're getting there, guys. We're trucking through. We're getting it. This one actually kind of stumped me. This one was fine. It said, why are the most prayerful countries the most deprived and not the most successful? Statistically speaking, yeah. Sure. But as we saw, I already erased them. But as we saw statistically, it's more likely for a country to be religious than it is not. So we're already, like, the bias is already in the favor. Like, if you've got any country, it's probably religious. So if you have a poor country, it's probably religious. And if you have a rich country, it's probably religious. That's just the way it goes. So, because I'm prayerful for religious, because, like, how else am I going to answer this? Also, another thing, right? God is not a magic genie, right? We don't get to just pray and be like, give me this, 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 and this. And then if he doesn't exist. Like, that is simply not how it works, right? God knows what's best for us. He's going to give us what we need, not what we want. Okay. I'm skimming this because I do this whole thing, like the USSR, notoriously poor, notoriously atheistic. America, which, okay, Pew Research on this is one that I wasn't super thrilled on, because I think most people would agree that America tends to be a pretty Christian country. Like, one of America, if America had I just saw a dog. We had a dog on campus. America would generally agree is Christian, right? Like, it's a fairly religious country, but, like, from a legal standpoint, it's not. So they did count religious as religious, or they counted America as religiously neutral. And they said that about 40% of countries have either an official or preferred religion. I think America typically prefers Christianity. There's a geographical and psychological differences between how America is structured versus other countries. We're not going to get into that because, quite frankly, I don't care. The socio-political climate of, I'm making up words. So yeah, basically, country, probably religious. Don't care if it's poor or not. That was, I added this. Religion and money may be negatively correlated, which first of all, correlation does not equal causation. We know this. So negative causation just means that if money goes up, religion goes down. And a positive correlation would be money goes up, religion goes up, right? So you see, okay. So it says they're negatively correlated. Theologically speaking, that actually checks out. It really does. You have, it's a lot easier to say that God doesn't exist, you don't need him, you're doing fine on your own, when you're sitting in an air-conditioned room versus when you're in the middle of a war-torn country and everyone you love and hold dear is under threat of being killed. But that's just a thought. We're going real long here. We're going to try and skim through the next 3 regions. Why do God believers indoctrinate their children instead of allowing them to decide for themselves once they've grown up? What would you prefer us to do? Would you us to just, like, because in that case, why are you indoctrinating your kids into atheistic beliefs when they could just decide for themselves when they grow up? Not a thing I actually believe. I don't care. But that's just how having kids works. You teach your children your values and your morals And they have the freedom when they're older to say, no, that's stupid, or yeah, actually that checks out. It just works. It is. And that's basically what my answer there was. Okay. Number 9. Why are God believers often so about things they cannot possibly know are true, such as what happens after they die? This is the one that basically, right, we can compare biblical truths to things that we see in the world, and it checks out. And there are so many examples of this. We've gone over them. The example I specifically give here is the one where I talk about evolution and how it follows a very similar order to the order of creation listed in Genesis 1. If the Bible can predict things that accurately, I think we can be fairly certain it's accurate about the things that we cannot prove, such as God exists. And this is the beginning of that answer. Up here, that's the beginning of this answer. So I did a lot of research on that one. And you're welcome. We're not gonna go through all of that. Because you guys already know we've been over it, and we're already over 30 minutes. We're pushing it. Okay, number 10. Why do God believers rely on faith when faith cannot distinguish true ideas from false ones? Just like we literally just spoke about. First of all, it's faith. What faith is. Faith is believing in the things that we cannot see, believing in things we can't prove exist or disprove. But the way that it works, the way even that it works in the Bible too. Like I can pull up scripture, always pull up scripture, but like you have like Timothy, you have, or no, not Timothy, Thomas, Paul, those types of things, right? Where they believe in the things that they cannot see because they saw things, right? Am I explaining? I feel like I'm not explaining this well. Thomas, doubting Thomas. Thomas didn't believe that Jesus rose from the dead. He thought it was somebody else. He couldn't comprehend that it was actually Jesus until he saw the wounds, right? And because he saw it confirmed in his mind that Jesus did die, Jesus did rise from the dead, and Jesus is the Son of God, right? And that everything that Jesus was talking about was true. Paul saw Jesus and therefore had said, whoa, screens are coming down over the windows. Sorry. This is a weird building, people. There's way too much money in this building. So now the lighting is going to change and I'm going to look really washed out. So we're going to wrap this up. Faith is genuinely just believing in things that you don't have proof of faith. And we can have confidence. Like our faith is strengthened by the given us so much evidence for what he gives us. I mean, he can give us evidence for whatever he wants, but for the things that we don't know, like Genesis 1, etc. So I hope that helps. Way longer than I was expecting it to be. Next week is October, which means we're going to go into philosophies, which I'm actually really excited about. This one was, I know I watched these. So hi, Andy. Cheers. He's not going to watch this part. He's not going to see that, but whatever. I'm excited. I hope you're excited. After that, we're talking about religion. Like the different kind of religions. I picked up a whole bunch of books on Islam, and a couple on Judaism. So I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited. And I'm gonna go do homework because I've been in here for 35 minutes now. Everyone have a great week. I will see you next week.